Hi there, welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. On today's program, we bring you COVID-19 friendly tips for children and more. I'm Audrey Williams. The show begins right now.
The numbers keep climbing, and yet some of you are still complaining about curfew times. Is that being selfish or are you being smart? You continue to blame the government, stating they are not doing enough. But the big question is, are you doing your part to help decrease the spread? The unfortunate reality is that far too many people refuse to take the coronavirus pandemic seriously until they or someone they love gets infected. Now, this is what we do not want, and I don't believe I can stress this enough. Wear your mask, sanitize. Of course, we love to hug and socialize, but just ease off some of that right now. Not just for your safety, but also for others. It look hard for your relatives to be home doing all they need to in order not to catch the virus, and you out on the road being reckless and carrying it right home to them. Each one of us needs to help during this fight against COVID-19 as we work to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business in a healthy environment.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, March 5, 2021. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has published a detailed vaccination program schedule as government provides more information on the first phase of COVID-19 vaccination in Jamaica. The schedule is available at the ministry's website. A statement from the ministry explains that while persons 60 years and older and those with comorbidities are generally accepted to be the most vulnerable group for serious effect or death from the virus, frontline medical and health personnel are at the highest risk of exposure. As a result, an estimated 16,000 doctors, nurses, and other health professionals who have expressed an interest in receiving the vaccine will be vaccinated first. This process will begin shortly after arrival of the vaccines in Jamaica. Later in the month, members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Defense Force, along with persons in the 60 and older age group, will gain access to vaccines. This will account for the supplies projected to be received in March. In April, as additional stocks arrive, vaccination of the 60 and older age group will continue. At the same time, vaccines will be offered to the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Department of Correctional Services, Jamaica Customs Agency, the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, and workers in educational institutions. Government has also included a category of public sector workers amounting to approximately 5,000 persons who interface directly with the public in the course of service delivery. Government officials, including members of parliament, the judiciary, parish councillors, senior civil servants, and senior technical officers will gain access to vaccines after the priority groups listed before. The Caribbean Poison Information Network, CARPIN, is appealing for persons to guard against overusing chemicals for cleaning and sanitizing while they abide by COVID-19 protocols. Poison Information Coordinator for CARPIN, Sharika Whitelock Balin Singh, made the appeal during a recent JIS think tank. She says a recent online survey found that the majority of persons were using chemicals more than 7 times per day for cleaning and sanitizing, and in ways that can lead to chemicals being absorbed through the skin and accumulate in the body.
I would tell persons to refrain from spraying their mask. Do not spray your mask for sanitizing. Wash your mask, rinse it, sanitize it, or wash it, rinse it, put it on the line and press it after. Do not spray your bed linens. Do not spray your clothes. Do not spray your towels. And do not lock yourself in a room and spray the room. Do not spray your children. And do not mix chemicals and spray them all over the house.
Mrs. Whitelock Balling Singh says the spraying of bed linen, towels, clothes, rooms, and masks with sanitizers could cause dermatological and respiratory problems. She says safe ways to sterilize bed linen include washing and ironing, as the heat and steam are effective in destroying microorganisms. Similarly, non-disposable cloth masks can be sterilized safely by washing, sunning, and ironing. And persons are urged to use cleaning chemicals as stated on the label and without mixing, as this results in the creation of harmful chemical compounds. The Ministry of National Security will be spending more than $43 billion over 5 years to implement its Citizen Security Plan, CSP. The initiative, which started last October and targets 100 communities, is being funded by the government, the European Union, and the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. Priority outcomes are crime and violence reduction, safer spaces, and human and community development. These are being coordinated by the recently established Citizen Security Secretariat, CSS. Executive Director of the CSS, Diane McIntosh, says the Citizen Security Plan is a critical aspect of Plan Secure Jamaica, which is a strategic roadmap to counter the impact of crime on communities. She was speaking during a JIS think tank on Tuesday.
It really seeks to address a much more long-term transformation and development of our vulnerable community spaces by using a multi-sectoral approach. Multi-sectoral meaning pulling all the significant agencies that deliver critical services and programs at the community level that would allow for or facilitate transformation.
Currently, the CSS is in dialogue with key ministries and agencies critical to the deliverables of the Citizen Security Plan.
Pulling all these entities and SDC as well, pulling them all together and organizing a standard approach of collecting data, because data management is very critical to the approach of this specified unit. And once we have got a sign-off or agreement of how we're going to collect socio-demographic data, then we have begun to set up targeted activities with these agencies in terms of their delivery.
The Citizen Security Plan was approved by the government in May last year. Government will be providing $119 million to support the transportation of sugarcane to the Moneymusk Sugar Factory, as well as the Frome and Worthy Park sugar estates in the 2021 crop season. Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says 30,000 tons will be transported to Moneymusk, with an additional 5,000 tons to the other two areas. He made the announcement during a virtual meeting with the Clarendon Cane Farmers Group on Tuesday. Over the past 3 years, government has disbursed over $500 million in subsidy to facilitate the transportation of sugarcane and repair cane roads as part of the continued support to farmers and other stakeholders within the industry. During Tuesday's session, Minister Green disclosed that Cabinet formally gave the approval on Monday for the final year of subsidy payments to be made.
Not only have we approved the subsidy in relation to transportation, but also the attendant things that go with transportation, such as the fact that we definitely need to repair some of those cane roads. So there's an allocation in that for the repair of cane roads, and also things like security and the transportation bays, ensuring that we have the resources needed to really move 35,000 tons of cane.
Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, says investment partner Tavistock Jamaica is ready to go ahead with the $7.5 billion Harmony Cove tourism development in Trelawney. Dr. Clark says resources are being identified to fund government's $25 million equity contribution to the joint venture project.
We believe that we have an avenue through which it can be achieved, but we want it to be done transparently. We are reviewing how the government can meet its particular equity contribution, and to the extent that Tavistock is ready to go, we will find a way for our portion to be met.
The Finance Minister gave the update during Wednesday's Standing Finance Committee meeting of the House of Representatives. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
The Forestry Department is leading the implementation of the National Tree Planting Initiative, which seeks to plant 3 million trees in 3 years, one for each Jamaican, plus a little extra for good measure. So I'm inviting each Jamaican to visit our nurseries across the island and collect your tree seedling and make your mark towards this great goal for Jamaica.
Taking public transportation during the COVID-19 pandemic has been quite challenging for most Jamaicans, especially parents of young children. Government recently suspended all face-to-face learning, except for those who still sit exams this year. That means less children are on the road, but there are still youngsters going out and about. This next feature will provide you with tips on how your child can travel COVID-19 friendly.
Sir, you don't watch the news. The taxi is full and I don't want to catch corona.
You can't squeeze in yourself.
No, sir. It's okay. I'll wait. I have to protect myself from the coronavirus.
You're going to be late for school anyway.
It's better to be late and safe. Just last month I was running down the stairs for classes, but my school has reopened. Are you going back to physical school too? Do you have to take public transportation? If you answered yes, I have some tips for you. Just a few guidelines to help you stay healthy and COVID-19 free while taking public transportations. First, remind mommy and daddy to check the news for any public transportation changes. Make sure you have your mask and sanitizer before you leave your house. Your sanitizer should have at least 60% alcohol. Also, bring extra masks in a clean and sealable bag. Make sure you wear your mask while on the road or in a taxi. I don't mean under your chin or below your nose. It should look like mine. It should cover your nose and mouth. Still practice social distancing. If a taxi has space to carry just 4 persons, it should carry 1 less. So you should be the 3rd person, not the 4th. Do not take off your mask in public. Always keep it on. Don't touch surfaces, but if you have to, wash your hands with soap and water. Take taxis or buses with the windows down so that there is proper ventilation. That means there is a steady flow of fresh air. As soon as you reach your destination, get out of the vehicle and go straight home. Don't stop to play with your friends. And when you get home, go straight to the bathroom to have a shower before touching anything or anyone. And also, if you are sick, just stay home. Yay! A taxi that's following COVID guidelines.
The Disabilities Act will protect the rights of all persons with disabilities. And here's a great teaching moment. Every person with a disability, like a deaf or hard of hearing child, for example, has the right to an education with accessible facilities and the support they need. In this case, it would be a teacher who can use the language of the deaf, which is sign language. Visit jcpdja.com. A message from the JCPD, an agency of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
You ever hear the saying, trouble not set like rain? It means troubling or uncertain circumstances can arise when we least expect. If that trouble involves the law, Jamaica's Legal Aid Council is here to provide assistance for persons in need. Take a look.
Yo. All right, yo, may I make a call?
Hello?
Yeah, Jen, auntie, just get a call from the station here. Them lock up Johnny.
Lord have mercy. So where them have him there for?
Some gun business in a taxi and them something.
Myself out of trouble. Business not even a 1, 2 right. God.
No, man, enough for money. You know. You can go to a legal aid council, them have a list of lawyer where, well, them provide it free.
All right, my love.
Yeah, man, just go down there and talk to somebody.
We will meet you there in a little while.
Johnny's case is one of some 3,000 for which the Legal Aid Council makes duty counsel representation each year. The Duty Counsel Service provides for free legal representation from a lawyer at the police station for persons arrested, detained, or remanded. The assigned counsel will visit the person in need and provide help at the various stages: the lockup, identification parade, interrogation, and apply for station bail or bail by the court. Lockup visits and bail application are free of cost and require no application form. Everyone has the right to justice through the country's justice system, even if they cannot afford the cost for legal services. The Legal Aid Council has been ensuring this restricted access to justice, and lawyers assigned complete hundreds of some 1,500 court cases annually, benefiting hundreds of children and adults. Legal aid is the system that provides legal representation for Jamaicans who can ill afford to pay for this service whenever they come in conflict with the law, thus ensuring access to justice for all persons without financial barriers. The organization established to support these services is the Legal Aid Council. The Legal Aid Council, a statutory body within the Ministry of Justice, governs the legal aid system. For court representation, the Legal Aid Council or the court office completes an application form on behalf of the client and assigns a lawyer to represent the client until the end of the matter. All attorneys assigned court matters are private attorneys required to vigorously defend the right of the client, take full instructions from the client, advise the client, and ensure the best outcome on behalf of the client. Cases involving murder matters only require assigned attorneys to have 10 years' experience or more. Where a defendant requires DNA, handwriting, or other specialized expertise to advance their case, the Legal Aid Council will undertake the cost for a client unable to afford these professional services. While the Legal Aid Council provides full representation in court for clients with criminal matters, the council only provides consultations on civil matters before determining whether the individual can afford legal representation. Thereafter, the council provides an attorney to assist with the court matter. The duty counsel representation from the point of arrest to the first court appearance is free and it does not require the completion of an application form.
There are two main ways to access legal aid for criminal matters. One is the duty counsel stage. This is where a person has been taken into police custody and you're entitled to a lawyer. No application to fill out, no contribution fee to make from the moment you are taken into custody until your first court date. That is duty counsel. The officer has a duty to call duty counsel. Every station should have a list of the duty counsel available. If they don't, contact the legal aid counsel for an up-to-date list. If it's a family member that comes to the legal aid counsel or the clinics, if the person is in custody, not charged, no application form, no fees. The counselor or the clinic makes a call wherever the person is to an attorney who has his office near to that location and assigns the attorney. The attorney at the end of the matter sends in a claim to us. So the client makes no payment to the attorney.
Good morning. Thank you for calling the law firm of Stone and Brighton. How may I help you?
So the duty counsel is mandated to ensure that all the rights set out in the law for question and answer are observed for you as a citizen. All the rights and protection surrounding ID parades are maintained. Additionally, if the lawyer observes a child, any person under 18 being held at an adult lockup, that lawyer must make an application for the child to be removed to a juvenile facility. So that's the duty counsel stage. For the court aspects, if the judge observes that the person is without a lawyer, the judge will invite the clerk or assistant clerk to interview the person and grant legal aid. So the citizen is protected at every stage. At the duty council stage, some people would have been released after the ID parade, released after the question and answer. But for those who have been charged, you're entitled now to a lawyer to represent you during the trial. For that, there's an application form that the court would fill out, or the legal aid council or a clinic would fill out. And you may be asked to make a contribution. But the person who is not able to make any contribution will be granted help. If the means test shows that at the time you're not able to pay anything, then it will be zero contribution. So it is designed in a way that it helps rather than it obstructs. The client will basically be stating whether they have any income and any expenditure, the bills they have to pay, number of children that they have to support, etc.
The Legal Aid Council pays the private lawyer for his or her services to the legal aid client at the completion of the matter. If the client can contribute towards the process, they make payments at any branch of Scotiabank and not to the lawyer.
That contribution, there's no deadline on it. If the person says at the next month end, we are flexible. What we find now is that more Jamaicans are now able to approach the court, and whether funds are there or not, whether unemployed or not, they now can approach the court being represented by counsel. So a lawyer is there to put forward your defense, to speak on your behalf. And we have helped persons who were convicted. And in fact, in one instance, we provided a DNA report at the appeal level, and we were successful.
The council continues in its bid to reach more persons in need across the country using a Justice mobile unit acquired through the Citizen Security and Justice Program and its international partners. The unit has been taking the service to some 50 communities, particularly in rural Jamaica and the inner city, yearly.
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
With the recent spike in the COVID-19 cases, we want to ensure that we are washing our hands regularly or at least sanitizing. This next feature will show you how you can make hand sanitizers from the comfort of your home.
Hi there, thanks for joining us. I know, like myself, some of you are working from home. As you can see, I've turned my dinner table into a makeshift office, and I always have my trusty hand sanitizer with me. It's finished, so we're going to make homemade hand sanitizer. We have a 4-ingredient hand sanitizer. The most important ingredient is alcohol, and it has to be 62% volume or above, and aloe vera. And we have vitamin E oil and an essential oil, just to make it smell nice. So follow me into the kitchen. First things first is to turn our aloe vera leaf into aloe vera gel. It's not going to have the same consistency as the aloe vera gel that you'd buy in the store, but I trust this over store-bought because you don't know what they put in it. So first things first, wash it, and then we put it in our blender to smoothen it out. What we're aiming for is a 1/3 cup of aloe vera gel / juice and 2/3 cup of alcohol. We're doing it 2 to 1 because the most important ingredient is the alcohol. Now that we've blended our aloe vera, we're going to put a 1/3 cup of the aloe. Wow, my measurement is on point, man. Whoa, just right. But as I said, the main and most important ingredient is this right here, the alcohol. We're going to use 2/3 cup of alcohol to a 1/3 cup of the aloe vera. I have here my measuring cup and I'm going to pour 2/3 of the rubbing alcohol into the cup. And I'm going to add a 1/3 of the aloe vera gel. For some persons, this will do, but for me, I want to add some vitamin E oil, so as to give a little more softness for the hands. So I'm going to put 2 to 3 drops of it because it's thick. As I said, this is optional, or you could use glycerin if you have it at home. Then the next one is the essential oil. I chose tangerine because I like that smell. And I'm going to add maybe 6 to 8 drops. And it's purely for cosmetic purposes. It doesn't add anything. As long as you have the rubbing alcohol, you should be good. Then I will just mix them together. In a clean container, after you mix the ingredients together, you pour Now that we've made our homemade hand sanitizer, the only thing left to do is to try it out. Very moisturizing. Wow. It's very strong too. Smells a lot like the alcohol with a tinge of the tangerine. So you can try it out right there in the comfort of your home.
This is where our program ends today. See you again tomorrow, same time, same station. Until then, visit our social media pages, our YouTube channel and our website at jis.gov.jm for more informative content. I'm Audrey Williams. Have a great weekend.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.